So with the Oklahoma Sooners looking at a ACC transfer linebacker from Virginia, Nick Jackson, you've kind of started to see some rumors again pop up about a specific former head coach, defensive coordinator, Bronco Medenhall, that I kind of want to just give my thoughts on and address, because I don't want OU fans to really give their hopes up here. But before we jump into it, please go ahead, hit that like and the subscribe button. Let me know what y'all are thinking down in the comments below. Do you think Oklahoma lands the linebacker Nick Jackson from Virginia? So the linebacker Nick Jackson from the ACC, listen, he's got it down to narrow to two schools from what we understand, Iowa and Oklahoma. But from what we also understand from reports, and Brandon Drum and Parker Thune have done a great job reporting on this, we don't necessarily have a great understanding of what this kid is thinking, where he wants to go. You hear of both programs, Oklahoma and Iowa, feeling like they're in a good position to land the senior out of Virginia. But, ideally, is Oklahoma going to land him? In his previous 3 seasons, he's had over 100 total tackles each season. Last season, he had 104 total tackles, 41 solos, 63 assists, 5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. But the previous 2 seasons, he had over 50 solo tackles and then 2.5 sacks each season. So you would imagine a guy like this coming in that plays well in the 3-3-5 would probably be a starter for Oklahoma. Now, it's 1-year starter, so it gives you a buffer maybe for the Samuel Omosigos of the world and the Lewis Carters and the Phil Picciottis of the world. It gives you a buffer so that they can build up some muscle. It gives you some more depth in that linebacker room, which is what I think hurt the Sooners the most last season. This would be a big pickup. Like when we talk about most impactful transfers of the year, you would look at Dason McCullough for Oklahoma. You would look at Austin Stogner for Oklahoma, Walter Rouse for Oklahoma, the left offensive tackle, and then Nick Jackson would be right up in there. And you could argue that Nick Jackson is probably the most crucial, because that linebacker room, I think, was definitely in need of maybe a little bit more experience and help last year, just because it was BV's first year. These guys are learning the system. I definitely expect Danny Stutzman and these guys to be a little bit better in that system next year, and I think OU fans should too. But again, we're not here to jump on the players, for not understanding the first year system. But with the rumors coming around Nick Jackson coming to the program, I've started to see some rumors that Bronco Medenhall might come back to Oklahoma. And listen, from all indications, from what I understand, I feel like these are just rumors. And I'm not reporting on this as if I know something. I'm reporting on you guys, telling you I feel like these are rumors. Like that's all they are. Like there's nothing to it other than Nick Jackson as a linebacker is looking at Oklahoma. But I don't think that has anything to do with Bronco Medenhall coming to OU, other than Bronco Medenhall is friends with Brent Venables, right? He runs an aggressive 3-3-5 defense. Now, if Venables wanted to go out there and go a new direction with the defensive coordinator, you would imagine Medenhall would be on the first list to call, because he kind of understands what BV wants to do a little bit, and maybe that transition period to call BV's defense would be a little bit easier. I think people were too quick to jump on Ted Roof, because, it's hard to call BV's defense. I mean, it's hard for the players to go out there and know where they're supposed to be positioned and lined up every single time. And shoot, you even see this in a Nick Saban defense sometimes. Sometimes in a Nick Saban defense, they have coverage busts. And that's because not every time is it going to be perfect. And you know what? Last year, Oklahoma's defense looked really good outside of, every single game. They would just have some big chunk plays that would really kill them, right? And I feel like that should be promising for OU fans to look at it and go, okay, the defense was significantly improved for a good majority of the time. And if you fix a lot of those coverage busts, well, then all of a sudden this defense looks a lot better. And Bronco Medenhall, yeah, he would fit. And I would love for Oklahoma to go out there and get him. But I think OU fans are jumping on Ted Roof, and that was including myself, too quickly. Again, I think we have to sit back and really understand how complicated this scheme is that BV wants to run. And I know you might go, well, if it's that complicated, maybe we don't need to be running it. No, that's all the reason why we need to be running it, because it's harder for the offensive players to really go out there and play against it. But that also means that you're going to have to get senior tenured guys into this program that know how to run it, which means it might take a year or two for them to really get experience under their belt and to be able to go out there and be successful in this defense. So when it comes to Bronco Medenhall, guys, I think they're just rumors. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. It would be awesome to see maybe Ted Roof go back to a linebacker coaching role. Help develop there with BV and bring in somebody a little bit more experienced in 335. Ultimately, it does come down to Oklahoma having the personnel, right? We took a step this year in the transfer portal and in the recruiting class with getting that personnel in there, but you would still think it's probably going to be another year before you really start to see a BV defense really take form, because that personnel still has to be able to come in here and learn the defense and build chemistry with the team. I think a lot of people forget that too. You turned over 40% of your roster last year. Like, you definitely have to build chemistry together on the field, to be able to go out there and do some of the things you want to do. So yeah, Sooner Nation, go ahead and jump down in the comments below. Let me know what y'all think. Do you think Oklahoma lands the transfer Nick Jackson from the University of Virginia?